Hello friends, and welcome back to Trek Mission Log. I'm so happy that you are here with me today. What I'm doing is analyzing and reviewing every Star Trek adventure ever filmed. I'm going to be at this for several years. I hope that you'll join me in this journey. If you are enjoying this content, can I ask a favor? Would you please consider subscribing to this channel? It would really help me out immensely. And also, you can check us out on Instagram at Trek Mission Log, and we can interact on there. Now, today, I'm going to be reviewing the original series episode titled Balance of Terror. This is Season 1, Episode 15. This is a very, very important Star Trek episode. Lots of things are established in this episode that will be a part of the Star Trek universe for many, many years. Also, we meet an alien race for the very first time that will prove to be a thorn in the flesh for the United Federation of Planets over the years. This episode was written by Paul Schneider, directed by Vincent McAveety, and produced by Gene Roddenberry. It aired on December the 15th, 1966. And you need to be warned, I love this episode and I am going to be gushing over this a little bit. It is fantastic. So without any further ado, let's dive in. As the episode begins, Kirk walks into the ship's chapel where a wedding ceremony is about to begin. Kirk gets a message from Spock on the bridge. Spock said that there has been no answer from Earth Outpost 2 and Outpost 3 has gone completely silent. Kirk orders that he maintain course and keep him notified. He then proceeds to officiate the wedding, which he says is a privilege of ship's captains over the years. The ceremony is interrupted by a red alert. Spock said that Outpost 4 is under attack and the attacker is unknown. Kirk orders condition red and everyone leaves to go to their stations. The bride and groom are left standing at the altar. They then depart to their stations and we fade into the title sequence. After the title sequence, we hear a captain's log. Kirk talks about the outposts along the neutral zone and that they monitor activity in there coming from the planets Romulus and Remus. Outpost 4 is under attack. The Enterprise is heading in to investigate and assist. The bridge crew takes turns bringing Kirk up to speed. Scotty said he'll get more speed out of the engines for him. Kirk asks if Outpost 4 gave any clues or any information as to who the attackers were. The ship's navigator, Mr. Stiles, said there can't be any doubt as to who attacked them, referring to the Romulans. Now, for the very first time, a layout of the neutral zone between Federation space and Romulan space is shown. Along the neutral zone are a series of outposts monitoring the neutral zone and Romulan activity. Spock gives a history to the whole ship of how the neutral zone was established. It was formed as a treaty between Romulus and Earth about 100 years prior to that, and there was a long and bloody conflict between the two planets. Interestingly, during the conflict, no visual communication was available, and so no human or Romulan has ever seen each other. Entry into the neutral zone by any side is considered an act of war. Kirk then goes on the ship's intercom and says that their orders are precise: to avoid all-out war. If for any reason the Enterprise gets into a conflict, the ship and the crew would be considered expendable. Mr. Stiles said that they can detect a Romulan ship because they are painted like a gigantic bird of prey. He indicates that he lost ancestors in the Earth-Romulus War. Spock is now scanning Outposts 2 and 3. There's absolutely no definitive reading on Outpost 2, but he detects dust and debris from number 3. Kirk orders Sulu to battle stations, and he orders all weapons to full power. The Enterprise receives a distress signal from Outpost 4. It is put on screen. The commander of Outpost 4 said that Outpost 2, 3, and number 8 have been completely destroyed. He also said that the enemy vessel emits a very powerful weapon of high energy plasma. We see the destructive power of this weapon as there is almost nothing left of this outpost. Outpost 4 indicated that the ship was invisible and appeared before it fired and then disappeared again. Suddenly, the ship appears again and fires the plasma weapon, which destroys the outpost, and then the ship vanishes. Spock indicated to the captain that it was interesting how they appeared, fired, then disappeared. He then mentioned he monitored a blip and that it is heading directly for Romulan space, just like a Romulan ship would do. Kirk orders a parallel course, and Styles keeps questioning the captain. He said that he thinks that the possibility that Romulan spies aboard the Enterprise exists. Surprisingly, Sulu agrees. Just then, Uhura picks up some communication. Spock said that he can get a picture of their bridge, and for the very first time in Star Trek history, we see the Romulans. They bear a striking resemblance to the Vulcans. Styles picks that up and immediately looks at Spock. As we come back, Styles is looking angrily at Spock. He believes that Spock is a Romulan spy. Now Kirk sees the hatred in Styles. He walks up to him and told him to leave any bigotry in his quarters because there's no place for it on the bridge. At that point, the Romulan ship appears on the screen and suddenly changes course. Kirk orders to stay with them. On the Romulan vessel, the captain feels that they are being followed when his officers believe that it's simply a reflection of their activity. The Romulan ship has a cloaking device which can make them invisible. Another officer asked, "Why doesn't the enemy ship attack?" The Romulan captain said, "First study the enemy, then try to find a weakness." He said, "If I were their captain, that is what I would do." We then see a very battle-weary Romulan captain who wants only to go back home. The Enterprise continues pursuit. Kirk orders a meeting in the briefing room. Spock shows them a piece of metal from one of the destroyed outposts, the strongest substance in existence, obliterated by the Romulan weapon. McCoy said that millions of lives hang in the balance of what this ship does next. Scotty said that the Romulan ship is powered by simple impulse. They can match the speed of the Romulan ship or even outrun them. Styles interjected that they must take this opportunity to attack. He then directs his anger towards Spock, saying that Romulans and Vulcans look alike. Spock said that he agrees with Styles. He felt that the Romulans are a distant relative of the Vulcans and have not suppressed their primitive emotions as the Vulcans have. Because of that, the Enterprise dare not show weakness. The Romulan ship is heading towards a comet. Even though cloaked, it would leave a trail in the comet dust. Kirk orders battle stations. McCoy said to Kirk privately he feels that Kirk is taking a big gamble. Back on the Romulan ship, we see that the captain is laying a trap for the Enterprise, but they see that the Enterprise has changed course, and this catches the Romulan captain off guard. He orders an escape maneuver. Now, when the Enterprise crew sees the Romulans changing their course, Kirk said that He believes the Romulans guessed their move, exactly what he would have done. He vows to never underestimate their captain again. This now becomes a game of strategy between the two captains. Kirk orders the ship to fire phasers blind to lay a path. We see the phasers causing damage to the cloaked Romulan vessel. Now, as a beam was about to fall on the Romulan captain, a Centurion pushes him out of the way and he takes the hit, saving the captain's life, forfeiting his own. Because of the rapid phaser fire, the Enterprise experiences a control circuit burnout. Spock investigates. Just then, the Romulan ship appears and fires the plasma weapon at the Enterprise. Kirk orders full astern and emergency warp speed. As they move away, the weapon dissipates slightly, indicating that it has limited range. Spock makes the repairs to the circuit controls and gets the phasers operational again. The Romulan ship is now back to its original course. Kirk orders Sulu to stay with the ship. As they approach the neutral zone, Kirk orders an attack. They begin the rapid firing of their phasers. As that is happening, Kirk orders Uhura to relay a message to Command Base that on his responsibility and his alone, he sees no other choice but to pursue the Romulan ship into the neutral zone. They keep firing their phasers, hoping to hit the cloaked Romulan vessel. And they do, causing damage. The Romulan captain orders all debris into the distribution tube. He also orders the body of the dead Centurion into the distribution tube as well. This was a trick to get the Enterprise to believe that they destroyed the Romulan ship. This, however, does not fool Kirk. Spock tells him that the ship is definitely out there, but he has lost track of it. The Enterprise is now running silent. Spock has to make further repairs to the control circuits. Both ships are now playing the silent waiting game. McCoy comes to see Kirk, and Kirk tells him that he's feeling the pressure of the command in this situation, and McCoy takes a moment to give him encouragement. On the bridge, Spock finishes his repair and accidentally hits a button that makes a loud noise. Stiles thinks that Spock did that on purpose. The Romulans picked it up and are now moving toward them. Kirk orders phaser fire, and he hits the cloaked Romulan vessel. The Romulan captain calls Kirk a sorcerer and orders more debris into the tubes, and also orders the old nuclear warheads that they are carrying into the tubes. As they release the debris and the nuclear warheads, the Enterprise detects the nuclear weapon, fires phasers at it, rendering the Enterprise adrift. The Romulan officers want to finish the Enterprise, and the captain said that they are going home. On the Enterprise, Stiles goes to help with weapons, and Kirk orders that they play dead to draw the Romulan vessel back to them. After pressure from the Romulan officers, their captain decides to attack the Enterprise. Spock goes to the weapons area to see if they require assistance. Stiles, as well as the groom from the disrupted wedding at the beginning of the episode, was there, and Stiles said to Spock, "This time, we'll handle things without your help, Vulcan." Spock leaves. Just then, there was a coolant leak in weapons. The Romulan vessel decloaks. Kirk orders fire. No response. Kirk then goes on ship-wide speakers and orders fire. Spock hears the announcement and runs back to the weapons room. He finds Stiles and the other officer are unconscious on the floor due to the coolant leak. Spock goes to the controls and opens fire. The Romulan ship is damaged now beyond repair and is adrift. Kirk orders hailing frequencies and said that they are standing by to beam their survivors aboard. The Romulan captain refuses. He said in a different reality he could call Kirk a friend, and at that point he sets auto-destruct of his vessel. In sickbay, We see that Spock was able to rescue Styles, but the other officer, the groom, had died. Kirk finds out that his fiancée is in the chapel, and he goes there to offer her comfort. And after they embrace, the ship goes on to the next mission. All I can say is, wow. What an episode this is. Admittedly, in my opinion, one of the finest episodes of the original series. Very, very close to being perfect. First and foremost, we see for the first time Mark Leonard, who plays the Romulan captain. An absolutely brilliant performance. Now, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Mark would play 2 more characters in the Star Trek universe. The lesser known would be the Klingon commander at the beginning of Star Trek The Motion Picture. But his penultimate infamous role is undoubtedly Sarek, Spock's father. Sarek will be featured in the original series. He's also featured in Star Trek 3, Star Trek 4, Star Trek 6, and in a couple of episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. Of course, Sarek also appears in Star Trek Discovery, played by a different actor. So a very, very important role. But in this episode, he gives us our first glimpse of the Romulans. We see snippets of how the Romulans are organized, definitely based on the ancient Roman civilization and their form of government. In fact, the word Roman and the word Romulan sound similar, don't they? This episode establishes the neutral zone. The concept of the neutral zone will play out in Star Trek lore for many, many years. Very important in Star Trek storytelling, and this episode was the start of that. When they brought up the chart of the neutral zone, very, very cool. In this episode, we see a battle of the wits, or of strategy, if you will, between 2 master captains. And in different segments, we see the pressure of the command and the toll it plays on the leader. And it was brilliantly portrayed by William Shatner and by Mark Leonard. Seeing them try to imagine what the other was thinking throughout this episode was spectacular. It actually reminded me of an old war movie starring Robert Mitchum and Kurt Jurgens called The Enemy Below, a film that you should check out. We also see in this episode the importance of the ensemble. All the key players, minus Chekhov, were involved and all played important roles. The dialogue throughout the episode was perfect. Even the looks of terror on their faces was superb. Styles was fantastic in this episode, and they all came together in a perfect blend. It just leads me to believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that Star Trek is the ensemble, and it was absolutely incredible in this episode. I love that this episode also was primarily in space, where the action takes place solely on the Enterprise and on the Romulan vessel. Truly a space episode, and it's just great stuff. One other thing that I will point out was Spock's reactions to the hatred coming from Styles. It was incredible. As a Vulcan, he did his best to suppress the emotions, but it comes out in his expressions, and you can tell that it really affects him. Beautifully acted by Leonard Nimoy. Now, in this episode, it was hard for me to find any weaknesses. The only thing that I could say is that it is really missing Chekhov, the only missing ingredient from the original cast. By the way, if you're keeping count, episode 15 is now completed. We are 18.98% of the way through the original series. We still have yet to meet him. Now, there is so much more that I can say about this episode, but time does not permit me. So, I give Balance of Terror 5 out of 5 Starfleet insignias for awesomeness. It really is a perfect episode. Well, that brings this week's edition of Trek Mission Log to a close, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Please take the time to watch this incredible Star Trek episode. You will not be disappointed. And please feel free to leave a comment below on what you liked about this episode, or what you disliked, or if you liked this review, or if you hated it. I love reading your comments, and I welcome healthy debate. Your comments mean a lot to me. All I could ask is that we remain respectful of each other, and with that we keep the comments profanity free. Please give me a subscribe if you enjoy this content, and I invite you to join me next week as I review Season 1, Episode 16, titled Shore Leave. Until then, live long and prosper.